the structures of the 3D world is finally collapsing on itself. And that's because consciousness is emerging and evolving in our world today. And it's coming from the 4D and 5D realms. So you don't have to wait until it arrives. You can literally navigate it and stay in these upper, higher vibrations right now. And I'm going to show you exactly how coming up. So 3D is obviously the third dimension, and the third dimension is everything physical, material, everything that we can see, taste, touch, hear, and smell, right? That we can perceive with our physical senses. So it's really good to know before I begin diving into the differences between 3D, 4D, and 5D is that there's varying degrees to it. So the 3D isn't all bad. It's just that the 3D world there are lower vibrations to it and higher vibrations to it, and which will turn out to be 4D. And in 4D there's lower vibration to 4D and a higher vibration to 4D. Now the 5D is only higher vibrations. Once we enter that fully, I'm sure it'll be kind of like a lower degree to a higher vibration in the universe. But lower and higher doesn't mean bad or wrong or not good for us. So there's no judgment here at all, okay? I just want to make sure. I feel like a lot of people kind of like, oh, 3D is all bad. No, it's not. It's just the structure of 3D, it's just the physical plane. It's our brain interpreting vibration. That's all 3D means. But we can associate different degrees to it. So the lower 3D world is, I consider it as the lower astral plane, meaning that it's where most people kind of like hang out. The majority of people, it's fear, it's separation, it's survival mode. The overall feeling of the 3D world is that you feel like you're separate from everything and everyone, and all your goals and all your desires that you want to create for yourself, whether it's a car, a new job, career, money, a lover, marriage, family, whatever it is, you feel like you have to work really hard for it. And you also feel like you gotta prove yourself, you gotta prove your worth to the outside world. And so it's a narrow focus in the outer external world, where it's almost as though your internal world isn't really that valuable. And that's the trick, that's the illusion of the 3D world. Everything takes a long time to create, and you tend to feel like a victim instead of a creator of your reality, because you have this narrow focus outside yourself. It takes more time and more energy to manifest your desires. Now if you're in the lower 3D world, you're not even concerned about manifesting your highest desire. You're concerned about survival in a state of suffering. This is like the worst case scenario, is kind of like war zone, right? And we're seeing that, a zone of just feeling like they're in a war with themselves. And so everything is very separate. I want to say that if you are in that state, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You've just been bamboozled, as Dr. Deepak Chakra loves to say, bamboozled by the 3D world. That means you're like bedazzled, you're tricked. It's an illusion. You're not a victim, you are a creator, but you cannot feel like a creator if you feel like a victim. That's the key. Your feeling is the key here. No one can come into life as a victim. We all chose to be here for different reasons, but the ultimate reason is to express the divine within us, which I'll talk about in a bit. And so now, when fight or flight or survival mode is activated, most of us don't know how to turn off our thoughts in order to go to bed. The fight and flight response isn't bad. It's what kept our species alive for many, many centuries. The higher 3D is fully empowered, feeling like you are achieving your goals. I think of it as a solar plexus chakra. If you watch any of my chakra videos, you'll know by now that the lower two chakras are associated with the 3D world. But now it's time to transcend that into the heart center. And that transition from solar plexus to heart center and the higher chakras is what I call the 4D. So the 4D is very different from the 3D because the 4D is the realm of higher emotions and also higher thoughts. I call it the still point. So the lower 4D, it's basically someone who is looking within and seeking answers to life's questions of why am I here? What is my purpose in life? A sensation or feeling of life. I think of it as following the fairies in the forest. There is guidance there is intuition. There is a calling, like something within you is calling you forward in life to a higher cause or to explore meditation, different forms of religion or philosophies. The people here in the lower 4D world are very empathic. They know and they feel energy and they can feel the energy of other and emotions of other people and places and things. And so this is where we begin to kind of awaken to our own psychic senses. And it is through these psychic senses that we can perceive the higher dimensions of life. And I love how Abraham Hicks says, finding good feeling thoughts, because if you're in that lower 4D, you're already there. You're already finding good feeling thoughts to think about, right? The 4D is equivalent to the upper astral realm. So the 4D in quantum physics is time. And this is the realm where you begin to kind of find that still point, that stillness within you. And within that stillness, via meditation, prayer, ritual, it's almost as though time itself slows down. Because it really does, because there's no such thing as time. So you begin feeling and experiencing time slowing down. And you're beginning to find the present moment. And when you do, you just kind of skyrocket to the upper 4D realm, which is where your guides begin to communicate with you. And as Abraham Hicks loves to say, it's almost as though your cork is bobbing naturally up to the surface. Your vibration naturally rises, because that's your natural state, is a higher vibration. It's just our thoughts and feelings and, being disillusioned by the illusion of the 3D world keeps our vibration down into the physical 3D dimension. And it is this upper 4D or astral plane that we start beginning to perceive our guides, our angels, all the beautiful celestial beings that are real, that we read about in so many spiritual books and texts that people have experienced. And these things are real, they're perceivable. I've seen angels, I've seen guides. You can see them as orbs, sometimes as an outline, flashes. It's very, very mystical and beautiful, and this is where you really begin to let go. You let go and trust a higher power to really guide your life. And really, it's like that stream of well-being that Abraham Hicks talks about. You begin to trust the flow of life. And with that trust and letting go, synchronicities, mystical experiences, magic and really miracles can happen. And there are things you can start doing right now in order to go from that lower 3D plane to that higher 4D plane. Writing lists of gratitude, right? There's so many tools out there. Meditation is going to help you to raise your energy. It's a letting go. It's a inner guidance. Following that emotional guidance system and trusting that every time you think good feeling thoughts, you are naturally vibrating higher and higher and higher, all the way up to love, empowerment, and appreciation. And this is where we begin to exist in that lower 5D realm. And the 4D is where Mainly, not all, most healers, teachers, psychic channelers, mediums, star seeds, light workers, I think I just said that, empaths, anyone who associates themselves by these terms. I love the term that Abraham uses for all of us: teacher, healer, uplifter. It's all in one, right? And we all say different roles at different times. It's really anyone who's consciously operating from that perspective. Not necessarily their job is to be a teacher or healer. You just naturally are. So I feel like we covered a lot here. Now let's enter the 5D. The 5D is the realm, and the best way I can describe it is of the higher self. This is what is meant by nirvana, Shambhala, right? Of course, the Christian term, the kingdom of heaven, is within. And I also love the Christian, beautiful way of saying, in my kingdom, there are many mansions. That means there are many dimensions in space-time. So the 5D is where we're all heading. And the 5D is really the realm of the higher self, the soul, the spirit within. It is the transcending dimension. It is what Eckhart Tolle, I love what he says. He calls it the present, or dimension, like I just said. So here is a little bit of quantum physics. So if the realm of space-time is 4D, right? The space-time, meaning that space is infinite. The realm of 5D is where time, space is infinite, meaning that there's more time than there's space. 4D, infinite amount of space, but there's a finite amount of time. And so that's why it takes a lot of energy to create, even in the 4D, right? It takes energy to raise our energy and all that jazz. But when you meditate and connect with the higher self, that energy begins to manifest in our lives spontaneously, seemingly out of nowhere, but it came from somewhere. It came from time space. And how do you get time space? So it's just an awareness of the presence beyond you, a higher self, a soul. I also consider 5D the Buddha Christ consciousness. And so this consciousness already exists inside you. It's already in you. So the idea here is to practice presence, not just during meditation, but throughout your day, every single hour you can. This is what is meant by praying without ceasing. In this realm, you desire nothing. You don't have desires. How can you want when you feel wholeness? As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, how can you desire anything to manifest outside yourself if you have everything inside yourself? And so this is a statement when you realize that, when you awaken to that. And thus, when you're in that state, you don't manifest anything. The divine, the source within you, the Son of God, right? The Christ, the Buddha within you, manifests for you. The vortex, as Abraham Hicks says. I love how all this connects, right? We all have different degrees of this awareness or consciousness. Masters and teachers are those who have practiced this awareness and consciousness all day, every day. And I love how Dr. Joe Dispenza says, when you merge your consciousness with it, you embody the divine more. So all the qualities of the divine, unconditional love, forgiveness, healing, health, wealth, all these things are, you become it. It comes through you, by you, and as you. It's like you become a clear channel. And I love how Dr. Joe Dispenza says, this realm, if you're one with everything, how can you want? How can you desire anything if you are it? Eckhart Tolle says, the fullness of life. It doesn't mean that you give up all the worldly things. It actually means that you are everything and everyone and every place and every time and everywhere. It's a recognition of omnipresence and omniscience and omnipotence. And this is where both the Buddha and Krishna and of course the Christ consciousness, this is where they're operating from. You are in the world but not of it, because they recognize their source energy. And they're blended beings, as Aram says. Blended beings, right? And when you are in the 5D, you recognize yourself as a blended being. Even if it's just for a flash second or a few minutes. And with practice, it just, that time becomes longer and longer. And you become that Christ, Buddha, higher self-conscious. And that's what we're all of us are destined for. I'll definitely talk more about the 4D and 5D and other ways to kind of activate that energy within you. More practices, more techniques. There are infinite teachings, infinite ways, infinite techniques, infinite abilities to tap into these higher realms. And there's no wrong or right way. And that's the thing with 5D. There's no duality. There's only unity. It's oneness, right? So, and this oneness seeks to express itself, and it is. It's already doing that through all life, and it seeks to express itself in its highest form through, in, and as you. And I love that. I just love doing that. It's amazing. Let that simmer. It's beautiful to know. In the comment section down below, please tell me your own 4D and even 5D experiences. Have you been touched by the spirit, by the 5D? I want to know. Let me know. I know all of us are ascending at different speeds, but humanity itself is ascending really rapidly. And I'm just gonna put it out there. Within a year or two, it's gonna feel like things are getting worse, but it's really not. It's just the 3D world is the old ways are dissolving away. It's gonna collapse upon itself. And within 2 years, we're all gonna start seeing the evidence of entering the Aquarian age. Be excited. Get excited. That's what the world needs right now. All my love to you.